What is up, everybody? So here is a little guide that I'm going to do based on motion tracking. So as you can see in this clip here, we've got a plank, and as we follow the cursor around, the text will follow the plank. Now, of course, it says wait, show me, because that's what's actually in the clip. So if I just click on the play button,
Hey, show me. Wait, I was in here. What?
So, you know, for my edited style, I do this sort of thing, and a lot of other people do this as well, such as over at Womble or Tio or Lagix Peanut Pona. So I take a lot of inspiration from these guys, and so the editing involved in this, I probably do this a little bit differently to other people, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So first thing we do, you know, get our text thing, and so it says, wait, show me. I can't spell apparently. There we go. Cut it down to how long you want it. So there we go. Using slice tool, you could easily just like drag it till the point where you want it to be, but whatever. Now I've cut the text here just because tutorial reasons. Now that we have our text here, let's just set the font size to 18. This is kind of how I do it. You can do it to whatever size you want. Now, instead of using what's in here, the track motion. So there is an option here called track motion. Now, what I do is I just do the pan and crop, which you can also access by clicking on this button here, which I find a lot easier to do, especially when you do it in large amounts. It's just easier to do it this way. So anyway, you can link up your timeline to your preview box by clicking sync cursor, which is in the bottom left corner of your pan options. What I do from here is just simply... Why is it stuck on rotate? That's a weird bug. Okay, so anyway, you just simply drag it until it's on top of the plank, where you want to line up certain letters to a certain point. So here, just going to use the word ho. So HO is going to sit on top of the plank. And then from here, what we do, I used to do this in 30 frames, so I would do every 4 frames. But because I'm now recording and editing on 60, you want to do every 8 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you just want to realign it until it's good, like that. And you just want to keep repeating that process until there's no more left. So that's another 8. Drag it across. Now, the reason I don't use track effects is because I haven't... crap, I lost count. It's because I haven't actually learnt to do that. And I've been doing this method for a long time. It's like 6 years I've been using this program, maybe more. Probably a lot more. But this is just how I've learned to do it, and I honestly don't see much difference with the track motion method, because you have to animate every individual frame, so this makes no difference to me. So there you go. I had a little bit of a gap on the text as well, so then on the last bit you just want to go all the way to the end and then lose one, so you can actually see where the text is. So here it's like that. Now it's going to look a little bit off because the animation that Sony Vegas puts into it isn't going to be perfectly synced with the plank. It's not made to sync with the plank. It's only made to animate between the frames, which is why they're called keyframes. You know, it's going to just generate where the text goes based on the text's own area. It doesn't actually track the plank. So, of course, if I play it, it's going to go off in a little bit.
Hey, show me. Wait, I was...
So here you can probably see it, that like there, it's way off. And that's actually the perfect frame I wanted to be on, because I want to do every 4 frames. So if I go back to the first one, I now want to go between every keyframe I've done and keep half in the process until it looks good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because, you know, 4 is half of 8. And see how it's a little bit off? Well, let's just go correct that. Let's just correct that. So now, that's on top of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're already at one of our keyframes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so here you just want to move it a little bit. About there, that's good. And another 4 frames. So this one is way off. So now we've corrected that. And you basically just want to keep half in it until it looks good. So there's that. Now that's every 4 frames. So if I go into every 2, that could be a little bit corrected. There we go. And then another 2 frames. There we go. Keep going over it until it looks perfect. So it's a very tedious method, and you literally have to animate every frame. So if you do this sort of editing style, it's not going to be a 5-second thing that you can do where you just type in text and say, follow this guy. You have to animate it yourself. And honestly, it just adds a little bit more challenge to the whole video editing thing, and it looks really good when you finished it off. Like, it makes things a little bit more clear, and I think it adds a little bit more personality to the whole video itself. So that's every 2 frames. So basically, half of these frames in this clip are now been manually edited. So if I go over it now,
Hey, sorry, wait, I was in here.
notice how it just stays on him. It literally just stays right there. That is what we want. Now, like I said, this is my method. This is the way I do it. I know there are way better ways you can do this, but this is honestly just how I do it. And I hope that you guys have learned something from this. This is probably the most simple way of doing it. It's all your workspace. You can do what you want. I'm just here for a little bit of guidance on my methods.